So,
Hi.
this is Dorothy Henning, and we are at the IFF Annual Assembly in Herzberg, Switzerland. And Dorothy spoke to us a little bit about her guild, which is the French Guild, and she's the representative of our French Guild here. Actually, also the head of the French Guild.
No,
You're not the head.
not.
Anyway,
I'm just a member.
And and so Dorothy had some really interesting ideas about recruiting volunteers, which really spoke to me. And so, Dorothy, could you tell us a little bit more about some of the ideas that you've had and have worked?
Absolutely. It's more about member participation. So not just, we tend to have an idea of recruiting, and it should be more about how getting them involved and participating, and that there's different levels of it, and put this in a sort of pyramid where the first level is they sign up to be a part of the guild, and the next level is basically that they're in a place of satisfaction, because if they're not satisfied with the guild or what's going on, they're probably not going to want to get very involved.
Sure.
And another important next level would be developing relationships, because it's all about relationships. And then you move more into education and conversion, which can seem like kind of a strong word, but the idea being education to know how everything works, how the guild functions, and then to see that it's a good idea to have it, and the possibilities that come into light because the guild is there and it exists.
Absolutely.
And then they move more into doing some volunteer work and into leadership. And the goal at the top, actually, to get to is where they feel ownership.
Right.
And just to mention a few things that are important in this are the fact that so much in our society is toward having a consumer mentality, and although it is important to have that level of satisfaction, is how to move out of consumer mentality toward ownership, so that, and even the way we present what we present is not in terms of a product or something to sell, but more about being a part of something. They can make a difference in the Feldenkrais community,
right,
and then of course to people, because that's what our method is about,
right,
improving lives,
right. And something that you said the other day that's really struck me is that, as soon as students are graduating, that we really want to make a big effort to harness some of that energy and enthusiasm, and to already have them, as you say, use the model of the pyramid, that they see that there's a potential for them to actually be at the top of this pyramid where they never think it's possible, but as soon as we instill in them this potential. And so do you think it would be a good idea to even talk to students during trainings about volunteering and the benefits?
Absolutely, and then it's about volunteerism, and there's other reports and studies on this of how to work in volunteerism. How recruiting is not so much about talking someone into something, persuasion, as it is about listening and looking for that match between what the person needs or wants personally. It's called constructive individualism, and how that can be a nice matchup with in your guild. For example, someone who really is looking to have better leadership qualities and how to be a leader. Well, there's an opportunity to do it.
Right.
And there's other examples as well in getting involved with the Feldenkrais work and studying. There's just different possibilities. I'll mention them here. And so it's one thing that's very important is to know it's an investment over time. So you don't want to ask someone at that level. I've seen that happen before, and someone finally says yes, and let's say they're even on the board, and then they get asked to be in a work group right away in this much time, and they get inundated with emails, and they think, oh my gosh, I can't do this.
Right.
It can start with just something so simple.
Right.
It should not be something so big. They can help at one event.
Sure.
And examples like this, so that it doesn't become overwhelming.
Yeah.
So when you have that matchup happen, that it's what they are looking for, or would help them in their life, and then have those skills match up. So that takes a little bit of care and relationship building and research to know these people. So you build relationships over time. And the first step that we did was had a survey with the board, because if there's not satisfaction within the board, then and not just satisfaction, but if how they get along on every level. If they don't understand what you're trying to do in the guild, which would be the mission of the guild, that they don't feel they get enough information, or they have the competence, or in all the areas, or feeling ownership, then there's no way you can expect to get new people to do that.
Right.
Or to have a good relationship with the rest of the members. It's completely reflected, and they've done studies of that in companies where how, say, the main staff or management gets along with each other is a direct relationship, and they talk about that in HR, human resources.
Yeah.
With, if you want to know how a management treats their staff or the rest of the employees, look at how management treat each other.
Very good.
That it starts right there.
Yeah.
So that's where we're starting. We're not even at the next level yet. We're going to start there. But as things go on, so we've done the survey, so what we've done, and then have that go into different categories, which is where do we need more help? And then together we're thinking of in which area do we need a little work in, and what would be some of the solutions in that? For example, if it was more in the area of, do people feel like they've been kept up to date on all the changes? Or did they get enough help to be confident in the tasks that they're asked to do on the board? And if not, what can we do to help that? Do they need more trainings to support what they do?
Yeah.
And one really big one, of course, is being appreciated. Do they feel appreciation?
Yeah.
And then what can you implement to make people feel appreciated? And then from there, we're just starting, so I'm telling you about it when we're just starting.
This is great.
It's because another step would be, I could imagine sort of a chart, and you talk, everyone has certain people that they're talking to and building relationships with, and they help move them along on this pyramid. When you talked earlier about having someone be at the top right away and having members know that, they don't really need to know that.
Right.
It's just, it's something that they would more be at the initial stages.
Right. And what
that.
about this sort of buddy system of, having one either board member or maybe more of a person who's more senior or have longer longevity in the organization, actually bringing along, a graduate or somebody who's interested but a little bit scared?
That's a great idea. That's a great idea. One thing we've done in our board is we haven't done that, and that was an idea that came up. That was looking at some of the solutions to the areas that it looked like we needed more help in. But one thing that we have done is we binôme or match up, pair up a board member with a member who's not a board member.
Excellent.
And then to work on something, and so they don't feel like they have that responsibility as large a responsibility. So it can be, and it makes it easier for the board member to actually have some help. In our case, it could be translating. If we have materials come in English, and someone who is really good in one area may not be able to translate the materials that they receive in English. They need to have those in French.
Okay.
So that's also another way.
Okay.
Pairing up.
Dorothy Henning from the French Guild, thank you so much for talking to us, and look forward to the next time and your updates.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.